Welcome back to my channel Exploring Biology with Sandeep. Today here in this video we are going to be start with the fundamental unit of the life. This is a chapter of the grade 9. We will discuss about this in this video. So let's start with the chapter. Before starting, I just want to share some points with you that we have seen on the earth there are different type of the organism, but these organisms are look very different from each other, but they having their same structural formation. All these organisms are made up from the cell. For example, bacteria, eubacteria, animals, plants, fungus, human beings, these all are made up from a similar structure, that is the cell. Fine. Now, what is the cell? Cell is the basic and structural unit of the living organism which help to be build the body of an organism. On the basis of the cellular organization, organisms are of further two types, unicellular organisms and the multicellular organism. Here, unicellular organisms are those organisms which are made up from the one cell only, and the multicellular organisms are those which are made up from the many cells. Examples of the unicellular organism we can give, that is the amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and the multicellular organism, plants, animals, human beings. These all are the part of the multicellular organisms. Fine. Next, that is the who discovered the cell and how he discovered. Fine. Robert Hooke is a scientist who discovered the cell in year 1665 in cork cells. What are the cork cells now? These are the substances which is obtained from the bark of a tree. Fine. What he observed when he took the cork piece and observed it under the microscope, actually he discovered it through the self-designed microscope. When he observed it under the microscope, what he saw the cork resembled the structure of honeycomb. जो हनी कॉम्ब होता है उसके जैसे उसकी स्ट्रक्चर दिख रही थी. फाइन. तो उसने उन जो लिटिल कंपार्टमेंट्स और जो लिटिल रूम्स उसको दिख रहे थे, व्हाट ही कॉल्ड हिम टू बी द सेल्स. फाइन. तो उन्होंने उसको सेल्स का नाम दे दिया, रॉबर्ट हुक ने. एंड द सेल वर्ड इज ड्राइव्ड फ्रॉम द लैटिन वर्ड that is the cellular, which meaning is a little room. Fine. Next, move to the topic, that is the cell theory. Cell theory is basically given by the two scientists, that is the Secledin and the Sichuan, who proposed this, that the plants and animals are made up of their cells. Further, this theory is refined by a scientist Virchow, who tell about this theory the cells arise from the pre-existing cells only. Fine. Cells are not formed from any another substance, they are just formed from the pre-existing, the old one cells with the help of the division only. Then further, organisms are divided into the two categories on the basis of the structural organization, that is the non-cellular and the cellular. In the non-cellular organization, viruses will be there, and in the cellular organization, bacteria, plants, and animals will be there. Further, the cellular organization is divided into the two types, that is the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes. In prokaryotes, archaebacteria, bacteria, and cyanobacteria will be there, and in the eukaryotes, plants and animals will be there. Now, what are these prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Actually, prokaryotes are the cells which are very small in size, and eukaryotes are the cells which are very large in size. Prokaryotes, how they are different from each other? In the prokaryotic cells, there is no well-defined nucleus is present. Actually, the nuclear membrane of the nucleus is absent only. That's why this is known as the nucleoid only. Fine. But if we are talking about the eukaryotes, there is a well-defined nucleus is present, like all the components of the nucleus, nucleolus, nuclear membrane, DNA is present here. But in prokaryotic cells, nucleus is absent, nuclear membrane is absent, and DNA which is present, that is less effective as compared to the eukaryotic cells. Next, let's move to the cell shape and cell size. The shape of the cell is basically determined by the function of the cell. Fine. So there are variable and fixed shapes of the cell, like in the we can say in the unicellular organism, the shape of the cell is mostly variable, and the multicell organism, the shape of the cell is fixed. Fine. For example, variable is in amoeba and fixed is in the plants and animals and the human beings. Fine. Then shapes are of different types, like polyhedral, spherical, spindle, elongated, branch, discoidal, circular. Different type of the shapes are present. Now please come on the size. In the size, the prokaryotic cells are always small as compared to the eukaryotic cells, but the size of the prokaryotic cell varies from 1 to 10 μm and the eukaryotic cell is 10 to 100 μm. Next, now there is a structure of the cell. The cell is basically formed from the different components, that is the plasma membrane, which is also known as the cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. These are the three important components which build the cell, but there is somewhat little difference between the animals and the plant cells, because plant cells having one more membrane, that is the cell wall, and the animal cells don't have this cell wall. Fine. And another difference is of the organelles which are present in the plant and the animal cells. Fine. So the cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm are the main components of the cell, and cell wall is present only in the plant cells. This is what we need to be discussed in this video. Now in the next video we will discuss about the different components of the cell in detail. So please stay tuned, and if you like my video, if you like my content, please do subscribe me and press the bell icon button so that you can get the notification when I'll upload any new video. So this is about today's video. So thank you so much for your cooperation. Thank you so much.